Hello, good evening, and welcome back for the final time this week to In the Know, brought to you by the Racing Post and Coral. My name is Ross Brierley, and we are 3 days down with one remaining. And of course, it is Gold Cup Day coming up on Friday. And we'll be looking through the big races to round off what has been an up and down week for many people. But we're certainly not short of drama. I'll also be looking back at today, where it was deja vu in the feature races with both Allaho and Flooring Porter pretty much providing instant replays of last year's victories. We had the most dramatic four-runner novice chase you'll ever likely to see. And Cool Cody winning his fourth Cheltenham race as well was right up there. Venetia Williams, Hughie Morrison, Harry Fry, they were all getting in on the act at Cheltenham this afternoon. And we'll be looking back and picking through the details there before we get stuck into tomorrow, where all the right horses turn up for the Gold Cup. We've got a red-hot Triumph Hurdle as well. Hillcrest versus Ginto in the Albert Bartlett, and the search for Grade 1 horses in handicaps after Belfast Banter and Galloping de Champs last year. What will win the county? And the Martin Piper perhaps go on to victory at the highest level? Well, hopefully we can find it on tonight's show. This is live and interactive, of course, so if you're watching on Facebook or on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe. If you're on YouTube, please do subscribe to the channel on YouTube if you aren't already. My producers have said we are mere inches away from getting 41,000 subscribers. Is that a significant number? It is to us. So get subscribing on that YouTube channel. And get your comments and your selections in for tomorrow as well. And we'll read them out on that chat box. And maybe put a few up in on the screen as well, if they are beautifully worded. So let's get stuck into it then, shall we? With the panel from last night returning to the fold. To my left, dressed in his very finest Gigginstown stud colours, it is the one and only Mr. Keith Melrose.
First colours as well.
First colours, yeah. Well, actually, a bit more Lady Bamford, actually.
It is Lady Bamford, yeah. Not that it's been the best day for Lady Bamford.
No, it almost was.
Well, it was not for the horse I backed though. The one I didn't back went very close. The one I did back did not.
Ah, right, yeah, of course. Mr. Coffee jumping like a coffee table in the last, unfortunately.
Yeah, flatbreds in these races, they just don't go so well. I'm not sure that horse likes chasing too much, even though he's finished second in a Commuter. It's testament to his massive talent.
Yeah, he's maybe a staying trip at Royal Ascot might be more down.
I don't know what you do with a horse like that, because he's clearly got the aptitude to win a good 3 mile handicap chase, but he's not that keen on jumping fences.
No. What did you make of the feature races again? I mean, if you played last year's Ryanair and last year's Stayers Hurdle back to back with this year's, you do well to tell them apart, wouldn't you?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, Allaho, before today, I would have said Allaho might be the best chaser in training about Energamy and Shishkin and talking mumbled tones about the 2 milers. He might just be the best chaser in training. He's just brilliant, isn't he?
He's a monster. He's an absolute monster.
Fantastic. He's just great to watch. And Flooring Porter, very similar to last year, but an even better ride, I thought.
Yeah.
I thought Danny Mull... there might happen, but I'd be very surprised if that didn't end up as ride of the week. It was fantastic. He just took the mickey out of them in a championship Cheltenham race. And as a jockey, can't get higher than that, can it?
No. And Tom Segal, of course, a Flooring Porter fan, and you'll have been watching it at home with the stopwatch out, Tom, and a short round of applause at every hurdle for Danny Mullins.
Yeah, he was brilliant. I completely agree with Keith. He rode a brilliant race. But then he's done that more than once this year, isn't he? He won the King George with a brilliant ride too. So all marks to DM, Danny Mullins, Danger Mouse. Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it seems like a lifetime ago that the Turners was run, Tom, and I was running a little bit late. I walked in as they jumped off, sat down to watch it, and it took me a while to recover. But what did you make of the Bob Ollinger Galloping de Champs matchup?
Well, I mean, he was brilliant, wasn't he? Gallopin de Champs. He even jumped. I don't know what happened at the last. He just couldn't get his feet out. I personally don't think. I think Bob Ollinger went wrong when he banked that fence 4 out. His tail went in a funny way, and his head went to one side. So, you know what I mean. I wasn't convinced that. I mean, but still, whatever you say, they were going to beat. Gallopin de Champs was going to beat. A decent horse, not a brilliant horse in Buston, by about 2 furlongs. So you cannot say anything, but that is an absolute monster, isn't he, old Gallopin de Champs? I hope Bob Ollinger gets back to his best. I don't think he was anywhere near his best today. But Galopin was awesome, wasn't he?
Did he make you worry about that long press Gold Cup bet, perhaps?
No, he's too quick for that, isn't he? I think. I mean, if he stays 3 miles 2 furlongs running like that, then you got Gorto Star all over again, haven't you? Because he's really quick, he's really fast over his fences. I didn't think I'd ever see another horse that I would ever compare to. But if he stays 3 miles 2 furlongs and wins Gold Cups, then he's right up there, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if they didn't have Allaho, you'd say just do what Allaho does, because they're similar-ish types.
Very much so. Very much so. Allaho's good, isn't he? I mean, you just can't. We were talking about this before we came on air. When you've got horses like Flooring Porter and Allaho, there's nothing you can actually do. People say put spoilers in, do this, do that. It's quite hard to do. They are so fast. They're so good. Both of them jump brilliantly. They made lengths at their hurdles. You can try doing funny things with them, but they're so good, those two, that it's really hard to do it. I suppose you could do a Cabby's Clown or whatever they did to Carville's Hill or whatever they did years ago and try and muck them up that way. But, I don't know how you get those two beaten. I think they'll win again next year. I think we'll be having this same conversation, Ross, next year.
Yeah, for 2 months in advance as well, Tom.
Three if you.
Yeah, fair enough. As soon as the Christmas dinner is finished.
Exactly.
David Stevens joining us once again from his hotel room. And how have you been finding it? We've been in the comfort of the studio. Tom's not left that office all week, whereas you've been hobnobbing at Cheltenham. Have you got any petrol left?
I'm just about going to get through a 4th day, but God forbid there's a 5th day at some point, because I'm definitely getting too old for that. But look, the day started brilliantly for bookmakers. Galopin de Champ would have been a shocking result for us. Bob Ollinger, by contrast, was a tremendous result for us. That kind of set the tone. It was a bookmaker-friendly day. But punters had a little bit to cheer, none more so, of course, than Allaho. And I bumped into Paul Keeley just before I left. And if Paul does have any cat near him tonight, put a crash helmet on cat, because Keels with 3 seconds today, including Mr. Coffee in the last, which was punted off the boards and would have been a terrible result for the firms. Obviously got beaten by the 40-1 Sean board. But we go again tomorrow, and it's just worth pointing out that this is a huge week, obviously, but Friday is by far the biggest betting day of this week, I should say. The Gold Cup, by far the biggest betting race of the week. But even the shoulder races, and the Albert Bartlett and the Fox Hunters in particular, will be in the top 10 betting races at the end of the year. There is something about tomorrow in particular that gets the juices flowing. So, look, bookmakers are just in front this week. Well, certainly speaking from a Coral perspective, we are, but that can all change tomorrow.
Lovely stuff. Okay, yeah, we'll get to tomorrow in a second. But I hope you saw Keels and said, but you backed him each way, right? Because that's always what you want to hear, isn't it?
It wouldn't have been the cat getting the kick in, it would have been me.
Yeah.
I patted him on the shoulder and said, I feel your pain, and just got out of there as quickly as possible.
Lovely stuff. Well, there we go. Well, yeah, our thoughts with Keels on this painful day. Let's get stuck into tomorrow then, shall we? As David said, big betting day at Cheltenham, and if you want to get involved in the Racing Post Members Club as well, it's £9.99 for your first month. You can stay ahead of the field, get involved in tomorrow's Cheltenham action, and of course, you'll be the first to hear what Tom Segal fancies at Uttoxeter on Saturday, Tom.
I cannot wait, Ross. I am going to go at Uttoxeter with all the energy I've got left, which is about that much.
Yeah, absolutely. You could go at the pace that the Midlands National probably run at, I imagine.
Yeah. I will probably try and find an Irish horse down the bottom of the weights. That's what I normally do, and just tick it off.
There you go. Look at that. What an insight.
Secrets of price wiseness, isn't it?
Just deletes all the British runners. Yeah. Okay. Right. Not that it would have worked particularly well in handicaps today, but let's move on to the final day of the Cheltenham Festival 2022. Then, and as ever, we start off with the Triumph Hurdle, the best of the best in terms of the juveniles going head to head. And this year looks like a pretty competitive renewal. That's for sure. Last year was a little bit disappointing in the grand scheme of things, even though it threw up a champion hurdle third, of course. But this renewal looks like a bit of a corker. And after Rich Ritchie was chinned on the line in the Fred Winter, he'll be hoping that Vauban can give him the winner in the Triumph tomorrow. 7-4. Pied Piper 3-1. Fildor 9-2. Il Était Temps is 12-1 with Porticello. 16-1 Night Salute. Icare Allen is 16s. Dr. Parnassus is 18s, and bigger prices the rest. And Tom, seeing as you tipped the winner of the Fred Winter the other day, we'll come to you for your thoughts on the Triumph. I mean, my thoughts potentially were we could see a similar-ish approach. I thought Icare Allen could well beat Vauban. We've got a short price favourite, a couple of Elliott runners. He's not having a fantastic week either. There's plenty of stories in this Triumph.
Yeah, what is it? 11-10 is it in the Old England versus Britain versus Ireland? I think Keith kills me for forgetting Lucinda Russell. It's 11-10, isn't it, in the thing? So the British horses have done a lot better than everyone's expecting. I never thought they were going to get whitewashed like they did last year, but they've done, I didn't expect them to win the mares races, so they're doing really well. I personally think they've got a chance in this as well. I think everyone's telling me that the Irish are miles better than us in this. I think we've got 2 or 3 in there that have a chance. I think obviously Vauban, Pied Piper and Fildor are the right ones at the top of the market. But I do think Porticello, the unbeaten 3 of them, Porticello's got beaten, hasn't he? But Night Salute, Dr. Parnassus and Porticello are very decent horses, and we don't know how good they are. Porticello, I don't think the times were anywhere near as slow as I was expecting them today, actually, on the new course. I was expecting it to be a lot softer than it was, actually. I thought I got foxed by that a bit this afternoon. And I think with another drying day on the track, I'm not sure. I think there might be a bit of good in the going description tomorrow. And whether that's going to be all right for Porticello, I don't know. Night Salute is an incredibly bred horse. He's by a Derby winner out of an Oaks third. He just keeps winning. What I like a bit is Dr. Parnassus. I just think he's a total natural over his hurdles. If you watched him at Ascot, time was very good for a debutant. He won first time out. It was only a 4-runner race, but it was a very decent time for a debutant. If you look at the top speed figures, he's not far off the top of these with 2 runs, one in a 4-runner race and one at Taunton. I just think he's a really good jumper and a really strong stayer. I think he's worth a bet each way, Dr. Parnassus, against the top of the market. I think they're very good. They might be miles better. But I don't think our horses should be underestimated in this. I think we've got a better chance than the market would suggest.
Okay. We'd also throw up the bizarrest, most niche juvenile double ever. Brazil, film directed by Terry Gilliam. The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, a film directed by Terry Gilliam. There's a coincidence double for you, Tom. I knew you were a film fan. Look at those DVDs in the back corner. You've just been going through them.
They're my wives, Alvin and the Chipmunks, Little Mermaid. I don't think they're that Terry Gilliam-ish.
Right, fair enough. Okay, so Dr. Parnassus on the form then. Okay, I thought he was.
I just think he's got.
Okay, so he's not been taking tips off Mark Commode, but fair enough. The Triumph Hurdle then, Vauban 7-4. Keels has had. Well, if you include Gaelic Warrior, he'll be banging his head against the brick wall throughout the entire week, and he's been banging about Vauban all winter. So if this one gets done on the line, we might never see Paul Keeley again.
No, poor old Keels. And this horse, they've bought it after it's won a listed race on the flat, and everything about it says they've been bought for the Triumph Hurdle. The vibes have been good all the way through. Yeah, I can see sort of why it's in the position it is, and the 3 at the top of the betting sort of deserve to be there, really, don't they? It's that sort of race. My view, really, it's the Triumph doesn't have the depth. People always talk about, I loved it when the Triumph had 20 horses, but there was generally 20 no-hopers that had been cart horses on the flat a lot of the time.
Or it just won one race and they thought, let's go for it.
Let's go for the Triumph. Why don't do it? Whereas these days they would end up with too high a mark and running the Fred Winter. Those horses deserve to be at the top. There was a horse I'd maybe throw in your exotics that I thought about suggesting, which was Lunar Power, who, if this on the flat, he was better than all these bar Vauban and one other, and sort of 92 level on the flat, stayed very well. Hasn't really over hurdles so far. Has just looked like a horse that's been learning the game, shall we say, and blinkers go on first time. Not a dissimilar profile to Jeff Kidder, who won the Fred Winter last year, who
went to win a Grade 1
and went on to win a Grade 1 and wasn't anything like as good on the flat as this horse. He was a stone better than Jeff Kidder on the flat. This horse. So look, he's 66-1. I'm not expecting him to win on the bit, but this is a horse that, in my head, should maybe be a bit more like 20s or 16s, and is available at 66s. So I'm quite keen on him running a race above his odds, because any other opinion I offered on the race would be a relatively boring one on one of the top 2 or 3 in the betting.
Okay, there you go then. And yeah, should have a nice price about Lunar Power, I think. Like I said, I thought Nikari Allen had a little bit of a squeak as well. We've got some social comments. Kieran Catterton, good evening to you. Night salute, don't care if there's been a drift. He's one of those that keeps finding, so he should run another big race. Yeah, it is really hard to knock horses. I mean, you say, I didn't beat much. You know, it wasn't much of a race he won, but they keep winning and winning and winning.
There was an Evan Williams horse that did that a few years ago. It beat all the British horses and it went, oh, that means nothing. And then it went off in front in the Triumph and nearly got home. And it was about 33-1. It's those colours, the same colours as Botock Haas, isn't it?
Yeah, it won the Chepstow race, didn't it? I think.
Yes, it did. I mean, the finale winners can be underrated sometimes because everybody assumes the finale is rubbish, but it's not always. And yeah, Night Salute's a little bit like that, in that he's clearly streetwise, and he's clearly the best of what he's been beating all these sort of half decent horses all the way through. 20-1 is potentially a big price, but it's not not a particularly sexy horse to back, so he doesn't get much love.
Was it Barazan?
Barazan sounds right.
I think it might have been Barazan, wasn't it? But,
what was it that beat it in the Triumph that year? Something came and got him.
It's Soldatino, finished second to Soldatino, second to Orsipus at Aintree, and then won by 12 lengths at Punchestown, beating Carlito Briganti.
Carlito Briganti. Is it really that long ago? Because Carlito Briganti is another lifetime.
We're all old. We're all very
We're all
old
hurtling
now,
towards the grave.
We are. As just off air, David Stevens was bemoaning his advancing years. Barazan's just yesterday to you, wasn't it?
I feel like I've aged another 3 years in the last 2 minutes there. No, that was fascinating. Look, the Coral-sponsored finale hurdle at Chepstow is one of the highlights of the season, gents. Let's not forget that. I agree with Kieran Catterson and to a degree Tom, but I'm a Night Salute fan. I would just love to see Milton Harris in the winners' enclosure here this week as well. And it does feel, 11-10 this score in the Prestbury Cup for those that follow it. Ireland are 20-1 on to win it. The ties come into 8-1. But even after 3 days, it just feels like there isn't the air of invincibility about the Irish horses this week. And they dominate the Triumph Hurdle betting. But Night Salute, 5 from 5, just keeps doing it. He's done it at the course. I'm willing to take a chance on him each way. But having said all of that, of course, our first special of the night is about the Irish runners. Gordon Elliott in particular, not had the best of weeks, but there is time for that to change. And a Gordon Elliott, winner of this first JCB Triumph Hurdle, was 6-4, is now 7-4. So that's our first special. If, unlike all of us, it seems, you want to be with the Irish favourites.
Okay, and James Knight's got in touch on the chat. Says, best system in racing, folks. Back the price boost that Tom Segal slates. Another lovely winner in the Mayor's Novice this afternoon, Tom. So we need your opinion on this one.
Was that really James Knight?
Apparently, yeah, it is indeed. Unless someone.
It will be. It will be. He's a petty man. He would be.
Can't help himself, can he?
I had a word with the Dark One this afternoon, and it's Tim's work, isn't it? So I hope he's not trying to take Tim's glory off him, because he's miles better. He's the man with the brains.
So would you back this one, Tom, or not?
I can't remember it. What is it?
Gordon Elliott to train the winner of the Triumph, 7-4 out from a 6-4.
No.
There you go. No. Right, get on. Certainty. Job done. What's everyone else got on the chat? Diddly-dee. Ilate Tom for Nick Dye. Of course, it was a bit of an eye catcher last time out. Mark McLaren hopes Vauban wins. Vauban looks a beast, says Sam Caney, but we've seen beasts beat this week. Pied Piper is a good thing. The ground will be against Porticello, says Stevens 99. It depends what the ground is, isn't it? It's been completely different every single day.
It's going to be a real conundrum out tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's no good after this, because I would say you might know after the first, but
well, that's it.
Won't help you for this one, will it?
Don't tell anybody.
But yeah, I think Akari Allen's got a bit of a squeak as well. I know Vauban beat him at Leopardstown, but he's got gradually better with every run. And I thought he had a little bit more to offer, but he would probably be better if the ground was soft as well. So the bet in the Triumph for you, Keith Melrose.
Stick Lunar Power in your exotics is my tip as far as that goes. I mean, maybe an each way bet on him out on his own, but he's a horse that's going to outrun his odds. And by Friday in Cheltenham, where normally I'm either down or playing it up, then I think he'll outrun those odds, definitely.
Okay. There you go. And Tom?
Dr. Parnassus beat a 108 rated horse on the flat in Pashkan. I think he's a lot better hurdler. I love the way he jumps.
Okay, Dr. Parnassus then. I'll go for Akari Allen at 16-1. David Stevens?
Night Salute each way with the saver on the Gordon Elliott special.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, just because Tom said it won't win. Lovely stuff.
Exactly.
Right, that's the Triumph Hurdle done and dusted then. Let's move on to the County Hurdle. Easy, isn't it? Just find the Irish horse with a stone in hand, in theory, based on last season. Although it's not necessarily worked out this week, has it? But State Man has been entered in every single possible race it could have been entered this week, and they've decided to go Father County this time around. 7-2 State Man. Colonel Mustard is 6-1. West Cork is 8-1. Surprise Package is 9-1. Top Bandit 9-1. I Like to Move It is 10-1. My Mate Mozzie 16-1. First Street is 18-1, and it is bigger prices the rest. Father County Hurdle here, 26 of them lining up for this race. Of course, like I said, won by Belfast Banter last year, who went on to Grade 1 success over at Aintree. Again, I think people have thought that would repeat itself this year. It hasn't so far in the handicaps to a certain extent, but last year it was your County and your Martin Pipe that threw up those Grade 1 horses.
It was, and these are the races it will, because they're short distance races for young hurdlers, and they're the horses that are going to be hiding loads. For instance, last year, Third Wind wouldn't have been weighted well enough to win a Perthouse final, but the BHA handicapping policy this year means he's dropped quickly enough to do so. Cool Cody would have probably been much the same. He'd have been too high in the weights after his December Gold Cup win, in previous years. So I think that's partly what's offsetting the balance here, but there are still too many unexposed horses in this race for me to think that's going to really affect what's going on here. The horse I really like in this race is actually a little bit like Belfast Banter in inverse. He went on and won a Grade 1 after winning the county, and for me, My Mate Mosey should be a Grade 1 winner already. He shaped like the best horse for me in the Royal Bond when he was second to Sanctuary in November. And he's only run once since in the race that Sir Gerhard won at the Dublin Racing Festival. But that was it's a bridging race, because horses that sometimes they run in the autumn, they don't run in the deep midwinter ground. They sort of come back in the spring a little bit. But My Mate Mosey might have just needed a little bit of a run to get him sort of fit. He looked a little bit rusty in that race at Leopardstown. And 146, he's not been missed, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
But I genuinely think this is a Grade 2 to Grade 1 novice hurdler. And therefore, 146 is perfectly fair, and he gets an extra £5 off of Kieran Buckley. And
interesting booking, I thought, Kieran.
Yeah, well, it looks like they've just gone, I need £5 off that, because the English are getting loads of weight this year, or similar thought lines. But I do think, having watched that Leopardstown race, I think the County Hurdle was the race they wanted to run in from that day, if not before. In fact, before. And
he gave the back marker to no one, didn't he?
He definitely did, and there was a lot of that in that race. He just looked like a horse that was getting fit again for the spring, frankly, and that's where he is now. He's in, as I say, he was never going to run in the Supreme after that, I don't think, and he's turned up in this race. 22. I backed him at 20-1 about 2 weeks ago, and I expected him to go off 10s.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you might still do that.
He might still.
No chance. He's going to be a 25 shot, isn't he? The problem is this State Man and Colonel Mustard are going to take a lot of the
they're sexier Irish horses coming into it. That's absolutely fine. That's absolutely fair.
I think you'll get your 20-1.
I've already got it, Tom. So
you've already got it. You can have it again, Keith.
There are plenty of sexy Irish horses in here. Tom Segal, what was the sexiest for you?
Surprise Package again. I was just so impressed with him the other day at Sandown. I just think that this was the plan. The County Hurdle was the plan. They were only running him at Sandown to make sure he got in. As it happens, he would have got in anyway. Would have got in comfortably. But he's Belfast Banter's trainer, isn't he? I just think he's been, he was so impressive the other day. Horses that have run in the Imperial Cup tend to have quite a good record when they come to Cheltenham, funnily enough. Bangor Dan last year. And back in the old days, Pipe did it a couple of times, didn't he? Someone else did it, I can't remember, but they did the double. On what he showed at Sandown last week, he's got a good chance. And I think the drying ground helped him even more. I think they were a little bit worried about the ground the other day when it went soft at Sandown, but I see him running really well. Colonel Mustard's obvious one. Finished miles in front of My Mate Mozzie last time, didn't he? I think he might struggle. As the guy you were saying, you just don't know what the ground's going to be. So if it dries out quite a lot, I think he'd probably want a bit more cut in the ground. And also, I like to move it. I think he ran so well in the Betfair Hurdle. I thought he was desperately unlucky, actually. He raced up with a pace while all those who all those out the back sort of came swinging around the outside, and he was left on the inside of the track, and he still nearly won. I think the extra furlong will suit him. I think Glory and Fortune finished 5th in the Champion Hurdle. Certainly didn't do anything wrong for the form, didn't he? They were not miles. They were 4 lengths clear of a strong field. A couple of pounds up on the weights, but I think he's got every chance, and I think he'll go really well too. So my 2 would be Surprise Package, and I like to move it.
Okay. Price package then, and I like to move it. We've got Morgan Vale on the social comments there. West Cork got a massive chance in this. Yeah, of course he won the Greatwood, didn't he? Which where's the stat? I mean, it's just incredible race, the Greatwood, isn't it? Everything behind West Cork's run 42 times since, 13 winners, including 1 Grade 1, a Grade 2, a couple of Grade 3s, and a profit of £82 if you just back them all by.
Is it always that good a race as well, the Greatwood?
It's usually pretty good. I mean, the Shunter, of course, won it the year before, didn't it? So is it because we're still a bit cold when that race comes round? Because it just seems to work out amazingly well. Do you think it just gives those kind of horses the perfect kind of tee up to then?
Yeah, and maybe the ones that are finishing, some of those 13 were just running to get fit, and next time they're on. Yeah, it's a fascinating thing that it works out so well.
Yeah, I mean, Glory and Fortune, obviously. I mean, there's a few in there in here as well. They were in that Jesse Evans as well, who I quite fancied at Cheltenham, but was way too fresh. Sent off 11-2 favourite for that. Could be interesting. A couple others I thought could be interesting. First Street, I thought was the one out of the Newbury race, Tom, that really caught my eye. I thought they'd go for the Coral Cup, given the connections, but actually, given the way he came home there. He got a bit of a stiff finish here, a bit of a slightly stronger run race as well. Actually, a really quick 2 miles might be perfect for First Street. And the other one was Far Out, who, I mean, he's caught. If he hasn't caught your eye in the last 2 starts in graded events, then you haven't been watching the replays, I guess. He might be a little bit of a bridle horse potentially, but I thought he was quite interesting. But yeah, what did you make of those 2?
Yeah, I like them both actually. They were definitely on my shortlist. I just slightly prefer. I just thought maybe I like to move it. Might confirm the form. I see that there's a big disparity in prices, so there probably shouldn't be that much in it. So yes, I would not put you off either of them. And Far Out definitely. He's been running in proper good novice hurdles too, isn't he? Like a lot of this lot. And I could see him sort of sneaking into it late on, like a lot of those Mullins horses do. Sneaky Mullins horses.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, surprise package for Patrick Silk, my mate Mozzie for Offworld, and Carol Ann as well. West Cork, Simon Anson, quite like First Street, says Hugh Masson. Yeah, I'm glad you agree with that. I've had West Cork for ages, says Kieran Catterton as well, and so Far Out for Nijinsky. So all fairly singing from the same hymn sheet. I don't know if that's going to work out well, David Stevens, or not, but. What have you got on your hymn sheet? What song have you got for us? You dressed for it.
I've got the same song sheet as Tom for this surprise package, despite the very annoying incorrect spelling of surprise, which really annoys a pedant like me. It wasn't the strongest Imperial Cup, but even so, this horse absolutely ran away with it, which they're not supposed to do. A £5 penalty I don't think will be enough, although it'd be, I suppose, ironic if he does get chinned, given he didn't need to actually win that Imperial Cup to get in here. I just thought he looked at a class apart, and there looked to be plenty more to come, and probably going to be a shame for them there isn't actually a bonus up for grabs to doing the double this year.
Okay, there you go. A few thoughts then for the County Hurdle. Just reiterate the picks, Keith.
Yeah, my mate Mozzie.
My mate Mozzie, it is. I'll go with Far Out and First Street at fairly decent odds. Tom?
Surprise package, and I like to move it.
There you go. You only pick that horse so you can bring back that 90s classic, don't you? If it's not Terry Gilliam films, it's Out Here Brothers songs. David?
Surprise package for me also, should just say 6 places each way in this County Hurdle.
Okay, lovely stuff. And if I Like to Move It does win, Tom will sing that live on karaoke.
It was by Reel to Reel, wasn't it?
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it wasn't Out Here Brothers. Out Here Brothers was like Wiggle Wiggle and all that sort of carry on, wasn't it?
Oh, that was
Boom 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 was Out Here Brothers. Yeah, Reel to Reel featuring. There was a featuring.
Yeah. There
was a guy who went a bit mental in the middle of the song.
Was it Tom Segal?
It might have been. I mean, for all I know, didn't sound like him.
The wrong singers.
Oh,
brilliant.
Oh well. Anyway, there you go. County Hurdle for you there at Cheltenham second race tomorrow. As we move on to the Albert Bartlett here, which is a fairly brutal race, isn't it, for a novice hurdler? And if you've been beaten in this contest, you're pretty much guaranteed a grade 2, 3, or even 1 win over fences or maybe even hurdles. The likes of Paisley Park, Santini. Obviously, we saw Allaho beaten in this as well. Commander of Fleet. We've had all sorts of runners come out of this without putting their head in front. But it could well be that we see a decent horse at the top of the betting as well, and maybe getting their nose in front in the shape of Ginto or Hillcrest. 11-4 Ginto, 3-1 Hillcrest. Manila Kakuna, of course, is already a Grade 1 winner at 9-1. Chanteuse is 11-1 with the Nice Guy at 11s. Good Time Johnny is 12-1. Staghorn is 14-1. And Bardenstown 16-1. And bigger prices the rest. Hugh Masson says, let me hear you say Wayo. So it's over to you, Tom Segal, to say Wayo. And tell us what wins the Albert Bartlett, because nice little lineup this year.
Not that easy, Hugh. You won't get me saying Wayo just on your say-so. Yeah, it's a really good race. It really is really good. I love Hillcrest. I'd really love him to win. I thought he was outstanding. The figures and the sectionals and everything at Haydock were right out of the top drawer. I think he's the best. Well, I don't know if he's the best horse in the race. I think he's got a good chance, just whether how much Haydock took out of him. But I'd love him to win for Henry Daly and Richard Patrick. I think he probably will, actually. He'd be my first choice. The other one I quite like is Chanteuse, who just reminds me a lot of Manila Indo, and that he's a real strong stayer, real strong galloping stayer that's going to just keep on going. And could see him sort of being one of your staying chasers to in a couple of seasons' time. So I hope Hillcrest wins, and I've got a little bit on Chanteuse as well.
Yeah, Hillcrest 3-1 then, Chanteuse 11-1. Yeah, horses beaten in this: Paisley Park, Native River, Santini, Time Hill, Boston Bob, Allaho, T for 2, Balco de Flo, and some of them being beaten out of sight as well. The question for the favourite though, Keith Melrose, is this the correct race? Horses who have not raced. Here's a stat for you. Up to 2 miles 7 furlongs in distance before running in this race are 3 winners from 139 runners. Admittedly, a couple of nice ones: Wichita Lyman, Bobsworth, and Very Wood. Were your 3 there, but Ginto, he's looked like a stayer. He's obviously won a point to point as well, so you can understand why they've gone for this race. But given how it rained yesterday,
they would have been borderline pulling him out before today's racing, wouldn't they?
Yeah,
it looks like they're going to get something a little bit easier less testing than they were going to get. So yeah, but you'd still have to have serious doubts about stamina, because you don't get non-3 milers winning this race. It's not like, you get horses that maybe win an RSC that can drop back and trip in time, or horses that win the Ballymore that can win champion hurdles. It doesn't happen here. It's all stayers.
Especially with 19 runners this year as well. It's not going to be. Well, I say it's not going to be Dordal. Obviously, they didn't go mad gallop when Vinlier won it last year.
No, but partly because it's Cheltenham as well. They get. It's not so much they have to go hell for leather from the start, but they'll start racing far enough out to make it a real test. And you need a horse that, there's a school of thought that says you want a really streetwise horse in this race. I'm not sure if it actually pays its way, to be perfectly honest, but it's copped you some nice winners down the years. So
Bertie's Dream was the one that's
Bertie's Dream, I do, yeah.
Where it rained for about 24 hours before, and Bertie Dream had run about 43 times, and
he had so much experience. And then that was 40 minutes before Imperial Commander won the Gold Cup, wasn't it? Well, that year. So yeah, Bertie's Dream. There's loads of big price winners in this race in my head. It happens a lot. It hasn't been so much recently, but certainly back in the early days of this race, it happened quite a lot.
Manila Indo 50s, Skilbrick and Storm 33s, Very Wood 33s, Martello Tower 14s, Penn Hill 16-1. Gordon Elliott's never actually won this race either, despite the fact that he regularly has a horse sent off well back.
He does, yeah. It's usually Gigginstown as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's usually like a Gigginstown horse that's like bred to, stay forever, and it gets sent off short price for this. And Death Duty was the one I always remember. He was a really short price for this, wasn't he? Or certainly a short price a long way out for this race.
Yeah.
But yeah,
what was on your shortlist for this?
On the horse I sort of looked at in terms of the form that's required, in terms of where he is, I thought Good Time Johnny was faintly interesting at 16-1. He's off 146 ratings-wise. They brought him here for the November meeting, and I got the impression then he was maybe thought of as one for the handicaps. But since then, he's won 2 races. He's won at Leopardstown Christmas Festival, and he's won at the Dublin Racing Festival in handicaps, and now he's 146 rated. It's actually easier to win this race than to win a festival handicap of that mark. The average rating to win this race RPR-wise is low to mid 150s. and you need to be £10 ahead of your mark to win a Cheltenham handicap, roughly. So you need to run to mid to high 150s to win a handicap. So they've gone, well, we've got our prizes, we might as well go for the big grade 1. He's got a lot of experience behind him. He stays 3 miles really well. And just looks like the sort of, I mean, he's 16s, he's an each way bet.
Yep.
But in a race where, you know, the sexy horses tend not to have come up to the mark at the distance, they might be a little bit raw. The raw horses don't win this.
Yeah, and they had the third last year that was backed off the boards as well, halved in price, and ran on, whose name completely escapes me right now. But
It escapes mine too. But it's, you know, it's the sort of race where your Santini's get beat in this race. Allo didn't have stage, but he gets beat in this race. The sexy ones that are coming with little experience, they get beat.
Yeah.
The ones that win are the ones that can definitely stay, and the ones that have got that sort of behind them. So yeah, I just thought Good Time Johnny was far more interesting than 16-1 implied, without necessarily being the likeliest winner.
oh, sorry, you were talking about Good Time Johnny, weren't you? I thought you were talking about Barnassus Lad. Got it completely wrong. John McConnell trains Barnassus Lad. He had the third
that's
last
right.
year.
Yeah, he did. That's yeah.
Sorry, I apologise, Keith. I drifted off there, I think. I was thinking about Terry Gilliam films. I don't know what to say.
Well, we all drift off when thinking about Terry Gilliam.
I was thinking about Time Bandits. Anyway, Junto, 11-4 favourite. What's for dinner? Is that the username or the question? Says, I like the nice guy, unbeaten. Yeah, stepping up in trip, the nice guy. I'll give a shout out to a bigger price, Eric Bloodaxe, who, I mean, if he's not a staying chaser in the making, then my God. I mean, if he doesn't run in an RSA or a Troy Town or a Thyestes, something in the future, he's got some nice form in bad ground, but he's a proper slogger. But I can't. So the Novice Hurdles this year, the speed figures I use, they've been won by Sir Gerhard, they've been won by Constitution Hill, and basically the baseline is 70. 70. There's only one horse who's done over 70 in this race, and that is Hillcrest. And he's a bit Edwardstown as well, in the sense that he should probably be unbeaten through no fault of his own. He unseated here. Is there a possibility that we could have a proper horse on our hands in the shape of Hillcrest, Tom?
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely, 100%. He's a proper horse. He already is a proper horse. I hope he wins. It'd be nice to see. We've had some, we've had Harry Fry had a winner, and Venetia's had some winners, and Huey Morrison's had some winners. I'd love Henry Daly to have a winner too. I think he's got a massive chance.
Yeah, it could be a chase in the future, or it could be a new mighty man, of course, for Henry Daly. I've completely lost the ability to speak there, David Stevens. I'll hand it over to you as I get my tongue back in order. What did you like for the Albert Bartlett?
5 places each way here. I think you want one at a price to say over the years it has been a fairly bookmaker-friendly result. And I'm going to go for a horse that hasn't been mentioned yet. He was rated 100 plus on the flat, and you don't often get those going hurdling. They tend to be sold to Australia or go out to the Middle East. But Staghorn is the horse in question. He'll have no issues with this 3-mile trip, I'm sure, given his staying prowess on the flat. He's won his 2 starts over hurdles, a Grade 2 at Warwick most recently. I thought around 14-1. An Archie Watson winner at this festival would be a story not too many would have predicted back in the autumn.
Didn't have that on my bingo card, I can tell you that much.
Sorry?
An Archie Watson winner at this festival.
Yeah.
Wasn't on the bingo card.
No, Pontefract stay in form.
Yeah, it was a funny old race, that Ponty race he won.
Yeah.
I remember handicapping it. I thought, how can I put a figure on this?
Well, they all are, aren't they? Though?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, something came really wide.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it.
Let's not get into the vagaries of Pontefract
No.
handicap form while we go. We have to have a mention to it's a green book as well in terms of flat stayers, because Venetia Williams is having an incredible week, and a couple of people have just said do not rule out Venetia in this race. And Ginto will win the stayers next year, so Andrew Wardlaw. If Hillcrest was Irish, he would be even money, says David Jing. And what's
While that's true, it doesn't mean he wins.
Yes, true. Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah, he should be favourite. Yeah. Which is fair enough. Okay, Albert Bartlett then. Tom Segal.
Talking of flat horses, best of them was Falcon 8, wasn't he? He won the Chester Cup of 100 and something. He's running Grade 1s, but whether he will like the ground conditions, I don't know. I hope Hillcrest wins. I've had a little bit each way on Chantreuse as well.
Okay, very well. And I also hope Hillcrest wins, and maybe Eric Bloodaxe can plod on into a place, which is the most underwhelming tip for a horse you're ever likely to hear.
Well, it's not quite. It might not be as underwhelming as Good Time Johnny for a little each way place to sneak in. Were you talking about Green Book there, Tom? Chester.
Sorry?
No, it's Falcon 8, wasn't it?
Oh, sorry, because Green Book won the Chester plate, didn't he?
Silver Cup.
Silver Chester Cup.
The Silver Chester Cup.
Well, I pulled a stroke that day. He probably handled the ground, wouldn't he? Because he won really good when the ground wasn't that. Well, the ground was quite bad. But yeah, he'll handle the ground.
Yeah.
Will he stay? Don't know.
We'll finish. I mean, what if Archie Watson versus Dermot Wells coming down to the last hurdle would be interesting, wouldn't it? David Stevens, what are you going with Staghorn?
I'm going for Staghorn each way. Green Book is a 50-1 shot, but this is our second special of the night. The British trained runner. Tonight we've got Wales and Scotland included from the compilers. A British trained winner of this Albert Bartlett was 6-4, now 2-1.
Okay, there we go. A British train winner of the Albert Bartlett, Tom Segal. Is it yay or nay? Thumbs up, thumbs down?
As far as I'm aware, there's no Scottish or Welsh horses.
Just back Hillcrest at 3-1.
Just back Hillcrest at 3-1. There you go. Fair enough. I don't know if that's a yes or a no.
Get the rest of them.
Okay, yeah, there you go. While Keith goes through looking for,
There's not, that might as well have been English because I don't think there's any Scottish or Welsh horses in this one.
they've learned from the mistake yesterday, haven't they? So,
Overcompensated what they've done.
there you go. Well, strong words from Keith Melrose. As we move on to the feature events of the day, the feature event of the week, perhaps the season. If you are a huge fan of the Cheltenham Gold Cup, and who isn't? It's some race, isn't it? It is a unique test for sure, and we've got a cracking lineup this year. Of course, the 1-2 from last season. We've got previous winners as well in the shape of Valboom Photo. Yuki Santini's who's running this. Royal Pagaille, who was beaten in this last year, coming back for another crack. You've got Galvin, who's a festival winner as well. Protectorat for the Skeleton team, who hacked up by half the track. You've even got the King George winner at 12-1. This is a cracking renewal. Who are you backing to win the Gold Cup tomorrow on the social poll? Galvin, 37% of you here. Apelutard, 27%. Other, 24%. Manila Indo, not getting much love at 11% for the front three here. Then for this Gold Cup, Keith Melrose. But this is a cracker. When you've got the likes of your Tornado Flyers and your Chantry Houses at 12, 14, 16-1, then you're looking at it thinking, okay, well, they're genuine quality animals. Whether they're good enough to win a Gold Cup is what I'm going to ask you in a second.
Yeah,
it's a great renewal.
Oh, everything's turned up that you'd want to turn up.
Yeah.
That's absolutely correct. I mean, I think you've baited me a bit there with Tornado Flyer and Chantry House because you know I'm not a fan of either of those horses.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I'm...
Though I think you can read it already
I
on
think
the
you
way.
said that Chantry House is going to get lapped, didn't you? Is that
No,
that
Dave Orton said that. I've said that he's never won a good race that wasn't presented to him.
Yeah.
Which, it's not very kind either, but it's what I believe. So, yeah, I don't know how...
Taking advantage of good opportunities is a better way.
I think that is the way you'd put it in print unless you were wanting to go off on one. Tornado Flyer, it was a good ride in the King George, but he wasn't the best horse in that race particularly, was he? And they're where they are in the market because of the doubts over that form. Why would the King George winner be 12s? Because you've got deep doubts over the form. And yes, I think that's quite correct. Not that I would ever feel for somebody with the life Rich Ritchie's had, but Royal Pagaille, you got to feel. You almost. It was not going to be.
He's had it tough, hasn't he? Yes.
It wasn't going to be his week, and then the rain came. It was yes, Royal Pagaille's definitely going to run on the Gold Cup, and now the ground's going against him again. Yeah. It's a fascinating race in a lot of ways. I was talking to you last night about this, wasn't I? And said that we do a lot of mythologizing about the Gold Cup and how it's it's all about staying this and blah. If you just back the best horse, you'd have a damn good record. And the best horse is probably Apelutard's, to be quite honest with you. That Betfair Chase form might be the best bit of form in the field, and if it's not, last year's Gold Cup's the best bit of form, and he shaped at least as well as the winner. He just didn't jump the last three fences. So I think he's the right favourite. Now, Galvin obviously is... Coral got them joint favourites. Other firms, if anything, have Galvin favourite, and Apelutard slightly bigger. I think Apelutard should be favourite for the race, but the horse I'm backing Protectorate because he's come a little bit from nowhere, but he's an enormous talent. The way he's improved in recent times has just been he showed quite a lot of speed, but also looked like a horse that's got a lot more to give. And for me, he just looks like a horse that he has everything about the point you made in the counter to my Gold Cup argument about back the best horses. You get one shot at a Gold Cup. Yeah, it's a race that takes so much out of horses. The jockeys sit there; they're thinking the same as us. They tell you otherwise, but they're thinking it's the Gold Cup, lads. Yeah. And as a result of that, you never really get a Gold Cup where the horses aren't really tested. Yeah. And therefore, it is a hard race to come back to year on year.
And Native River, I think, is the only one to come back and do it after being beaten.
And he was made of metal, wasn't he? That horse. He was just
exactly. Yeah. He was still doing that at 12 years old, so he was different gravy.
Yeah.
But it is that kind of race where not only do they go a brutal gallop, not only is it the Gold Cup, but also again, it's another race we were talking about this yesterday that really amplifies mistakes. So you might get a dream run through it one year and things don't necessarily work out. A Plus Tard, everything went right for him last year. He just got outstayed a little bit.
He just missed the last 3. That's all
Yeah.
he did. He actually...
Was that because the petrol gauge was running out, though?
No, I don't think so, because they were both, him and Menelaundo were both on the bridle approaching 3 out. A Plus Tard hits it a bit, gets niggled, and that's the end of the game, especially when Menelaundo jumps the last 2 really well and gets away from them quickly.
Okay.
A Plus Tard spends a bit of time rearranging himself after the fences and isn't going away at the line, but he's lost more than the length and a half he was beat with those mistakes, just trying to get reorganised.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. So you're with A Plus Tard to right last year's wrong?
He's the likeliest winner, but I think Protectorate's...
Because it's a great talk-up if you are. If you're not, I'm confused.
I know. I've backed Protectorate, though. He's the one that...
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, I've backed
yeah.
Protectorate. I mean, A Plus Tard, I think he's the right favourite, but
Okay.
I've backed Protectorate.
Okay. Protectorate, yeah, I mean, I think my opinion of him is I thought he'd run a great race in this and then he'd go to Aintree and he would relish the bowl and he would bolt up at Aintree. But I might be wrong about him. But Tom Segal, what do you make of the Gold Cup? Again, we've got all the right horses, plenty of Grade 1 animals, and a bit of a heartwarmer in the shape of I Right. Hopefully, grinding it out for some place money and a big run in the Gold Cup. What did you make of this year's renewal?
At the top of the market, I didn't like Menelaundo, last year's winner. Just don't think he's done anything this year. I mean, I watched the Irish Gold Cup again last time, and he was really weak after the last. That was a great effort for obviously it was a lot better than the Kempton run, but I still didn't like it. It was a Gold Cup trial. A Plus Tard, obviously, on his Haydock form. I think he probably should have beaten Galvin last time. Didn't think he got the best ride, but that was over 3 miles. I think Galvin's very solid. Got Cheltenham form, trained for the race, kept fresh. Best jockey in for the race. Everything's right about him. I'm just not quite sure he's a wonder horse. You know, he's a good horse, but he did get beaten in a handicap here once. And is he, I don't think he's necessarily that much better than any of the others. I mean, the 2 I like are the 2 British horses, Protectorat and Royal Pagaille. I know people say the ground's not going to be right for Royal Pagaille. Thought it's going to be a lot slower than it was at Newbury last time, and I thought he ran as well as he's ever done at Newbury last time against a horse that was placed in an Arkle, and he was still running to the line. If you look at Venetia's horses this week, she's had a winner, 2 winners. She's had a horse place come second in the championship. She's had a 4th in the Ryanair. She's had the 3rd in the Kimura as well,
And the Grand Annual.
and the Grand Annual, Ferrero Bamboo. She basically had one chaser not finish in the first 4, and that horse fell, Brave Shashka in the Arkle. So,
Well, and even Christopher Wood, who plugged on from God knows where to finish 6th in the Coral Cup as well. So she's not had, apart from Brave Shashka, everything else has run an absolute blinder.
Another thing, Tom, there's a social comment up there from Simon Lanson talking about the plan. There's actually not many horses that are pure frontrunners in this race.
Yeah.
I think I right will lead over the first fence, unless they do something like bounce out Royal Pagaille.
Yeah, I wonder if Charlie and Venetia have a plan of going out in front with Royal Pagaille, says Simon. If they can do no wrong, and he might just Denmanize them, which is a beautiful word there. Lovely stuff, Simon.
just ride him as you normally like ride him. That's what I do. But I just think he's had a perfect preparation this year. I mean, we all know how he didn't run very well last year, but he got injured. But I love his preparation. I thought, I know Venetia a bit. I know they were staggered he could win the Peter March because they didn't think he was anywhere near right after he got injured in the bet there. It was a sort of I mean, it's just class that got him through. He then ran a blinder over the 3 miles. Remember, it was 10 lengths back to Clan des Obeaux. He wasn't, it was further. He beat him further than Tornado Flyer did in the King George. And I think he's just going to run a career best tomorrow, and I think he's going to go really well. But like Keith, my main bet has always been, and will continue to be on Protectorat, because I just think if you strip out what you thought of him beforehand and just concentrate on his last 3 runs, he's the horse going places. He's the horse getting to the top, and he's the youngest horse in the race, which I always think is a big thing in the Gold Cup.
And we've obsessed a bit about the ground with Royal Pagaille and how it's not going to help him. But what we didn't notice, what we saw today, and it's not been remarked upon, is how well Eldorado and Allen run in the Ryanair.
Yeah.
Ran a great race, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
And he was
form,
yeah, exactly. He just did him for speed at Newbury, really, and obviously it was a bit quicker ground-wise as well. So, he
was the only one to keep tabs on him, and he kept going. Which last year, anything that kept tabs on him fell out the back of the telly. Which, bearing in mind, speaking of that, now I know he's a third season chaser. I know the King George fell apart. I know all those things, but if Allaho is the best horse in training, which I think is certainly possible, and
definitely,
I don't think it's to much dispute. This horse has run 2 blinders behind him when looking every single time like he didn't have the pace to go anywhere near him. Yet he's finished 3rd in a Ryanair and he's finished 5th in the John Durkan. Not only that, but he's also finished 3rd in a Champion Bumper and 5th in a Marsh as well.
3rd in a Champion Bumper.
Sorry,
3rd in a Champion Bumper.
Yeah.
Wow.
Behind Relegate.
Right.
And carefully selected. Where every comment at the bumper, not pace of front 2. In the Marsh, not pace to get involved. In the Ryanair, ridden and headway, kept on while no match for the for the winner. I mean, that's the way he won the King George. And those comments in his festival form, Tom. I know there's all those negatives about Tornado Flyer, but if that doesn't scream step up in trip, then I don't know what does.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I certainly wouldn't rule him out by any stretch of the imagination because I think he's totally unexposed at the trip. I think that was his first attempt at 3 miles. It was the first attempt where he really got a stamina test. I know the form is debatable and might not stand up, but I think he's going to relish another couple of furlongs. And it wouldn't surprise me if he was involved. I just prefer the other 2 slightly.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. Like I said, he's a 3rd season chaser, which doesn't have much of a good record in this race. However, he's a 3rd season chaser who's barely tried the trip, so he's a completely different profile.
It's less about like being young.
Yeah.
The record in the Gold Cup's for young horses, but I think that's sort of...
It's a pain barrier almost.
Yeah, it's coincidental. It's like, but if it's more about your first go at the Gold Cup, is the point you sort of made last night. Yeah, it's more about not having the battle scars.
Yeah.
You know, it's not being
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Cracking race. David Stevens, sorry, I apologise. You've been sat quietly. The only man who's dressed like he should be winning a Gold Cup, and it's David Stevens. So talk us through your thoughts on this. It's a cracker. Have we confused you? We keep throwing you curveballs with our previews, and or are you still strong in your opinion on this?
No, I'm very clear on my opinion on this. It's the same as the other 2. I think for the first time this week, certainly outside of, shorties like Honeysuckle, I think we're all in agreement. I'm a big Protectorate fan. I was at Aintree when he absolutely dotted up in the many clouds, and the visual impression he made that day really was one of those sort of wow moments. Obviously, the scouting team, they've kept him fresh since then. I totally get the bit about Raw Pagaille as well. The way Eldorado Allen run today gave him a boost. And all I'm actually sat here thinking is we're going through these races, and this 20-1 that Team GB could win the Prestbury Cup is looking more and more attractive. I think we could pull this out of the fight. I'm talking we as if I care about these things, but it could be fascinating tomorrow. But I'm very much in the Protectorate camp. 4 places each way. I think you can make a case for all the Irish horses towards the head of the betting. Melrose does come alive here. Galvin's brilliant round Cheltenham. La Poutard looked fantastic at Haydock, but it's disappointed since. But yeah, Protectorate for me, I think, in agreement with the others. And this is also our final price boost, not only of the night, but of the week, Tom will be pleased to know. And is there going to be a repeat winner of the Gold Cup? That's obviously Minella Indo and Alboom Photo. Was 3-1, is out to 7-2. But we all agreement Protectorate's going to win anyway, so this is a terrible special.
Yeah, and we know what Tom's going to think of this one, don't we, Tom?
7-2. Yeah, no, I don't do these specials. I don't quite No, not for me. No, move on.
I don't quite understand them, but that's fair enough. It's just it's all about it's form and video replays, isn't it? It's Tom. It's not working. You're not sitting down working out fractions.
Use your eyes and block your ears. That's the way forward.
Yeah. Tell you what, I've started muting the replays more religiously after Tom's hammered at home, and it's actually definitely works.
Okay, yeah, but don't use your eyes and block your ears if you're watching at home, because that would ruin the show.
Take some talking, Ross.
Yeah. What do you fancy in the Gold Cup at home? A Lucky Dip says Sharp Fitness look. Sure. We have a Vortex Fitness, Sharp Fitness look. What is?
Oh, they were involved this afternoon. They were on another show this afternoon.
Were they?
Yeah,
right. Maybe they're watching from the treadmill. I don't know what's going on. But Galvin Protectorate Alboom top 3 says Jorge Lozano Lima with the best name on the chat. Tornado Flyer for Kieran Catterson. Ed says if Minella Indo wins, then I'm a Dutchman. He doesn't actually tell us whether he is a Dutchman.
That was Van.
He could be Edwin van der Sar. I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah,
who knows? A tornado each way for Sam Caney. Galvin for Sam Caney. Hang on, what? Okay, you've tipped but 2 in the race, fair enough. Andrew says if Royal Pagaille wins, he's finished betting, so we could have nationality changes and retirement from the game. Chantry House has no chance as Davy Prodigy. Sam Caney doesn't like it either. And Protectorat leads, trust me. Hugh Masson thinks Santini will lead, so at this rate, it's going to be an absolute burn-up in front, by the sounds of things. OK, cracking race. The Gold Cup 2022. Tom Segal, what are you backing?
I have backed the two British horses, Royal Pagaille and Protectorat.
OK, Keith Melrose, what are you backing?
Protectorat is the best bet in the race. I'll be backing him. I'm an absolute sap in the Gold Cup, though. I usually end up backing about 3 because I'm just a massive sap for the race.
Well, there you go. There's the quote. Keith Melrose is a massive sap for the race. I do think Tornado Flyer is overpriced. I think the race might set up nicely for him, and Protectorat will get beat in this and win the bowl. That's my prediction. Although I am still sore about backing him anti-post with the King George. David Stevens, what wins for you?
Very disappointing you haven't joined us on the Protectorat bandwagon. It's Dan Skelton's for me.
I mean, the thing is, like I said, I did after Aintree last year. I backed him at 33s for the King George, thinking this is a proper 3-mile Grade 1 chaser next year. So I agree, he is a 3-mile. He is a Grade 1 chaser. He probably will have to have a saver, but.
Is this like my mate who backed Make a Stand for the Supreme the year he won the Champion Hurdle?
He's probably, yeah, and I'll never get over it. I'll never get over it.
He hasn't either. It's 25 years ago. He still talks about it.
Well, he's just messaged in, actually. No, but we've got 3 more races then of the Cheltenham Festival 2022 to go through, and we've got the Hunter Chase. We must get the name right, of course. The St James's Palace Festival Challenge Cup Open Hunter Chase, to be specific, where Billaway is 9-4 favourite, Bob & Co 11-2, Winged Leader is 11-2, Dubai Quest is 9-1. It is Pont Avon at 10-1, Cousin Pascal at 12, Premier Magic 14, 16-1 Lord Schnitzel, and bigger prices the rest. And a man who tipped a nice price winner in this race last year is sat at home, hopefully rubbing his hands together with glee. Tom Segal loves the races that most people love to hate. What's the tip for the Hunter Chase, Tom?
Well, I don't love them, but I love the fact that the bookmakers don't love them and the punters don't love them. So you're left with horses with big chances, with big prices, whereas all the other races are so saturated. The market's so saturated, you struggle to find any value. But I think any race with Billaway in at 9-4 favourite is a race I'm quite interested in, because while he's clearly got a very good chance, he's twice been beaten in this race. He's not getting any younger. Bob & Co's an 11-year-old. Paul Nicholls got a great red in this race. I would imagine he's going to go well. One I like is Dubai Quest for Tom Ellis and Gina Andrews. I just thought he's won 7 on the trot. He was impressive last time. I think he gave £10 and a beating to a former festival winner. Now, LeBroy is not the horse that he once was, but we're not asking him to be to win a Gold Cup, are we? Dubai Quest. We're asking him to win a Hunter Chase, and I think he's just got everything about him. He stays, he jumps, he likes off ground. He's a prolific winner. He's trained by a very, very good point-to-point trainer. I could just see him going well. He was a bigger price earlier in the week, but at around 9-1, I expect him to run a big race.
Okay, very well. Gino Andrews had a nice warm-up on mint condition today, of course, ran a cracker in the Kim Muir. The Hunter Chase then. Again, not a race I'll be particularly having a bet in, but I just want David Maxwell to win. I know he gets the headlines, but
I don't want him to win by a short head though. I want him to win by like a couple of lengths.
20 lengths, yeah.
So he can get up out the saddle and give it the big licks.
Yeah.
We all want to see that, don't we?
Absolutely. I mean, just fair play to the man, and he deserves all the.
Look, I would love to have a midlife crisis like that. Wouldn't you?
Well, I mean, there's still time, Keith. There's still time.
I'm only 35, but I won't be able to buy horses by the time I'm in my.
No, we'll maybe all club together. We'll sponsor you. David, you'll sponsor him for that midlife crisis, right?
I've actually just been stung by a wasp in the house I'm staying in. So
what?
I hope nobody heard my language a second ago.
Oh, I thought you were swearing at me.
Have you really? Oh, well.
I really have been.
Okay, do you want to go and sort that out?
No, I just want to hit it with a shoe in a minute. He's still there. But anyway, sorry, what were we saying about...
Is that a good omen or a bad omen? Don't worry about it, David. We'll come back to you in a second.
I'm going to tell you, it's a bad omen for the wasp.
Okay, the day 4 of the Cheltenham Festival, a sting in the tail for the bookies. What What do you fancy in the Hunter Chase, Keith?
They tell me never work with animals. That's what they tell me.
Because David will kill him.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, he's got his shoe off.
Yeah, absolutely. What wins the Hunter Chase, Keith?
Oh, I thought we were talking about the one No, it's Bob. I actually fancy Bob and Coat to win.
Yeah, okay.
I actually fancy him to win this race.
Great.
He was going really well when he came down in the race last year. He came down 3 out. Obviously, it was Sean Bowen riding him then rather than David Maxwell, but he was good. And then they went to Punchestown and beat. But it's David. It's still David.
Sorry, yeah, someone just said even the Wasp didn't like the boost, says Devo. So fair enough. But anyway, carry on.
Comment of the
Bob
week.
and Co.
That I was comment of the week. They cut him as well. The producers are just. He's just going to kill that Wasp.
Yeah, he was just annoyed that Buzz got ruled out of the festival. Anyway,
it was his. Yeah, so yeah, this horse has got the sort of level he needs to win this race.
Yes.
He was coming to run a massive race last year.
Yep.
Then went and won at Punchestown, where the ground again, it's spring ground again. Which are we going to get spring? I don't really know. But he's basically got the level of form. Paul Nicholls is actually really confident about this horse. I've got picked up on the grapevine. So there's a lot going for this horse, and there might be a tiny bit of sentiment in it. But
he genuinely does have the form though as well. I mean, he's beat Bill away, and he should handle the conditions as well. Wing Leader's got in touch with an appropriate emoji. So there you go. Thoughts on the Hunter Chase. Back to you, David. Are you all right? You're not allergic, are you?
We'll find out in the next 5-10 minutes, won't we?
I mean, you're getting darker. I don't know if that's got anything to do with it. But what are the offers here, Mr. Stevens?
5 places each way. Apologies, I've missed what the other chaps have tipped. This wouldn't be my area of expertise, but Cousin Pascal won the Aintree Fox Hunters at a big price and beat Bob and Co last time up at Haydock. He's sort of twice the price of Bob and Co. So Cousin Pascal, but I should be looking for something Wasp related in the final 2 races.
Well, Winged Lead has been suggested by a few people, but anyway, Tom, tell us what you're backing again in this, because we've been distracted somewhat.
Just Dubai Quest for me, Ross.
Dubai Quest it is. And Bob and Co for me and you?
Yeah, Bob and Co.
Okay, lovely stuff. And let's move on, shall we, from the Hunter Chase and see whether we can get through the Mayor's Chase and the Martin Pipe without a bee getting involved. Sorry, what was that? Some producer saying something? All right, keep going. Thanks ever so much. Right, yeah, just go through to my ear to tell me to keep going. Lovely stuff. Okay, moving on to the Mayor's Chase then for the penultimate race of the festival 2022, where we've got a new race and a really interesting lineup as well. Dead 8 runners as well, so potentially nice shape to proceedings here for this race. And maybe the producers were coming through to tell me the prices have been stung by a wasp as well. So let's try and get them up on my computer. No, there they are. Mount Ida 2-1, Ellie May 9-4, Concertista is 130, Vienna Court 12s with Zambella, Scarlet and Dove 16-1, Pink Legend is 66 with Maid O'Malley, the outsider of the lot, at 80-1. A titanic battle in this race last year between Col Reevy and Ellie May, and Ellie May returns to try and make up for that defeat. The market rival though, Mount Ida's already beat her. We're starting to rattle on with time a little bit, Keith Melrose, and I know you're not a huge fan of Mayor's Chasers, so I'll give you 30 seconds to tell me what the angle is.
No, I mean they're a bigger field than most of these Mayor's races, where they just plod around for a bit and then the horse that quickens best tends to win. But Mount Ida, I mean, she's tainted a little bit by that Kim Muir run where she looked mulish to say the least, but she's a lot quicker than that and actually a lot more tractable than you'd think as well. And it wasn't like that was anything remotely bad form last year. Cloudy Glen was in second, and he he won the Ladbrokes Trophy fairly well in this winter as well. So Mount Ida for me just looks like the sort of horse that's going places and could ultimately end up a little bit better than Mayor's Company.
Okay, Mount Ida then for Gordon Elliott and Davy Russell, who aren't having a good week. Tom, Davy's been brought down and fallen today in 2 rides. Gordon Elliott's had 2 winners, and given how many runners he's been throwing at the track this week, he'll be pretty frustrated with that. Of course, every time we say a trainer isn't having a good week, they go and bang in 4 winners.
Yeah, last week wasn't it? When Nicky Henderson was supposed to be having a terrible run, and he's had everything he runs seems to run really well, including that nutty horse in the Mayor race today, a horse with no name. What a good name that is. I'm gonna,
It's another song for you, Tom. You can break it a song if you like for that one.
I was thinking of it, but I'll give it a miss. As for this race, I couldn't choose between Mount Ida and Ellie May. I think Constantisa's had a rush preparation. I thought I liked Vienna Court to run. She's 2 from 2 at the track. Showed, she beat Cool Cody, didn't she, in that handicap chase last time, I thought she could easily run into a place.
Okay, very well. I thought Zambella was a little bit overpriced here.
Yeah.
I thought she was. She's got a cracking record over 2.5 miles and softish ground as well. I don't think she was beat in this race last year. She was a 6-year-old, of course. She was much more inexperienced than her rivals, and she was just coming into it when she knuckled on landed and fell. But I mean, she's beaten LMA pretty comfortably at Aintree earlier on in the season. Good speed figures. Track should suit. I mean, dead 8 runners, 12-1.
Yeah, she's the sort of horse that runs well in the sort of everyday mares chases, and you think, oh yeah, proper horses turn up now, lads. But those same skills they still make her quite an attractive option for this.
Because she's going to run to that level.
Exactly. Yeah, she's place only prospect for me as far as I would be concerned, but far from a forlorn one.
Yeah. Apart from falling in this race last year, over this trip she's run between 144 and 148 in every single run, and given that she's a 7-year-old, she might improve a little bit. So Zambella I quite like as an each-way play for tomorrow. I'll be hopeful that 8 runners stay in for it, David. Over to you.
Yeah, you've taken the words out of my mouth there with Zambella. It's a race. She's a mare I know well, because at the start of the season, our coral horse Annie Mac, we went up to Aintree, and Ellie May came over from Ireland and was 2-5 that day, and we thought, well, this is the one we've got to beat. And Zambella went off in front, and Annie Mac had Ellie May cooked. Then we suddenly realised that Zambella in front wasn't coming back. So we've been following Zambella all season since. And again, I agree with you. I thought 12-1. She was a big price each way here. She'll do for me.
Okay, lovely stuff. Okay, Zambella then each way with 8 runners. Keith Melrose.
Mount Ida for me.
Mount Ida it is. Tom Segal.
I think one of the top 2 will win, but I'll have a few quid on Vienna Court each way.
Okay, Vienna Court it is then for Nigel Twiston-Davies, of course, who also runs Zambella. Final race of the Cheltenham Festival 2022 then is the Martin Pipe Conditional Jockeys Handicap Hurdle, of course, which last year was won by Galopin des Champs in very impressive fashion, beating Langadan, who ranged up looking dangerous and going for that Imperial Cup bonus. But in hindsight, the Skelton team ran into another Grade 1 horse in a handicap. They might well do so again with the same horse. Langadan is 5-1 market leader here after that pipe opener a few weeks ago, which is apt, isn't it, given the race. 7-1 Adamantly Chosen, Hollow Game 7-1, Chemical Energy is 8-1, Banbridge 11-1, The Goffer 12-1, IA Connect is 14s, 5 o'clock 14s, and bigger prices are the rest. Tom Segal, this is another replay race, isn't it? Watching back those lightly raced Irish horses, although given it's the last race of a long festival, bit of Chemical Energy might get you through, mate. But did you have anything in here that you thought, okay, this could have a stone in hand?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Langadan's an interesting one, isn't he? Because he came here last year on the back of absolutely vaulting up in the Imperial Cup, and the last time we saw him, he was last of 6 at Taunton. So it's a bit of a different preparation. I think you're taking a bit on trust that he's in the same form he was last year. To back him at 5-1, I'd be, look, he can win, can't he, on what he showed last year? But who knows? Who knows what he's going to show? He clearly hasn't had the perfect preparation. Adamantly Chosen is an obvious one. Hollow Games obviously ran 3rd in the Grade 1 at the Leopardstown, and Chemical Energy has been trained for the race all year. But the 2 I liked were at a much bigger price, and well, they were at a much bigger price. The first one was Banbridge, trained by Joseph O'Brien for Ronnie Bartlett. Last year, he was sort of on my radar last year. He beat a horse called the Little Yank, and he beat him hollow, giving him a lot of weight last year, and he sort of is expected. He came back this year in a big handicap, and he was expected to run really well. He was favourite. He clearly needed the race, but he dropped back 2 miles last time. Packed up being a decent horse of Gordon Elliott's that runs here on Ferron or something. I can't remember what it's called, but he actually thrashed him. I think 2.5 miles, and is going to suit him perfectly. So he was the first one, and the other one, who was a 40-50-1 shot a few minutes ago, he's now 16-1. He's a Hardy Bloke, another interestingly named horse. It's a pedigree thing, and it's a visual thing. Last time in the Liffey Handicap at the Dublin Racing Festival, he sort of looped the field. He got hampered 3 out, and he looped the field, came right widest of all, got pushed into the car park, and stayed on to finish 7th or 8th. He finished in front of Surprise Package. That was his first run since July. He's up in trip here, first run over 2.5, 2.5 or whatever it is, and but he's a full brother to Empire Steel, of Sandy Thompson, who stays very well. He won a point-to-point as a young horse. He beat a horse called Earn River, who is now rated 148 or something. And I just wondered whether he might improve quite a lot for stepping up in trip. He could have run in the Coral Cup. I thought it's interesting that Noel Mead has opted for this race because he got into the Coral Cup, but he took him out at the directing stage and ran him here. So they would be my two. I think obviously there's loads you could choose from, and Gordon Elliott's got 6, and Willie Mullins got 2, and Henry de Bormed's got 2. But I'd go to get them beat. Joseph O'Brien's Banbridge, he won it a few years ago with Early Doors, and the other one at a big price is He's a Hardy Bloke for Noel Mead.
I don't know what else can we say. That was you've saved the best preview of a race till last there, Tom. You can tell you've really got stuck into this. That was lovely. I'm going to give myself away a bit here, Tom, but in the revealing that I do read your 2 for the tracker column to the email. But was Banbridge in that?
He might have been. He might have been. Yeah, you might be the only one. You are the one.
I am. I'm the one who reads it. You just send it to me direct next to me. It's fine. But yeah, I thought he was very interesting. Ed says the best Cheltenham preview. Thumbs up. Thanks, Ed. He's potentially a Dutchman, as we learned earlier on. I agree with Banbridge. I thought that Navam time was very strong, but the other one I thought was really interesting is Adamantly Chosen, who absolutely sluiced up last time out. Admittedly, winning by half the track at Thurles didn't do Dino Blue very much good earlier on, but this is a very different kind of horse. He run quite well at Cork and Fairy House before that, and he was entered in the Supreme, and I thought, well, if they're running the Supreme, he could have a little bit of a squeak at 66 to 1 and run a similar race to Bring on the Night, I thought, who finished 4th in that race, but. Yeah, I thought Banbridge and Adamantly Chosen were both very interested in this.
Yeah, Adamantly Chosen's the one that sort of took my eye a little bit. He's the sort of horse, you look at the sort of horse that Mullins nearly campaigned as a graded horse, as a sort of rule of thumb that you would do with this one. And this horse very much fits that bill. That last run, where do you stick it in terms, the time wasn't tremendous, but in terms of where you stick it is massively impressive. And he's not been missed for that, but he's clearly a horse that could have been running in graded races already. Often horses like Galopin des Champs, they get tried in the graded race, get their mark from that because the handicapper has to take a guess with horses that are quite well beaten in graded races, and then they come back and they get their handicap mark and win these quite easily. And Richard Deegan's on. Deegan's got a pretty good record for Mullins. He's like 18% for Mullins, more winners for Mullins than anybody else. So clearly a jockey that Mullins has a bit of trust in. There was an awful lot going for him. Tom's right, he's a bit obvious, but he just has the look of a horse that could, if you're looking for the graded horse to come out of this race again, it might well be him.
Yeah, okay. Adamant Chosen is a 7 to 1 shot then, and Banbridge, and He's a Hardy Bloke for Tom Segal. And speaking of which, continuing with the show after being stung by a wasp, what a hardy bloke you are, David Stevens. Give us a few offers for the finale, please.
It's just 5 places each way in this one. And I'm hoping that Gordon Elliott has been laying chemical energy out off since November, this one. He's got plenty in here, of course, Gordon, but chemical energy in a very tricky-looking finale to this year's festival.
Okay, lovely stuff. And we're already, again, these shows, trying to fit 7 Cheltenham races into an hour is always a bit of a test. We've only got a couple of minutes, but it's been a great week so far. Obviously, we've had drama, we've had weather chaos.
We've had complaints about field sizes, but the races, with the possible exception of the 4 miler.
Yeah.
They've delivered. There've been races of high drama. That 4-runner race today being probably chief among them. But yeah, it's been a great week.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, let's get the final naps then of the Cheltenham Festival 2022. Tom Segal, what is the final best bet of the day from you, my good man?
It's a tricky one. I think they're really tricky races tomorrow. I'm going to take a chance on Dr. Parnassus at a huge price in the opening Triumph Hurdle.
Okay, very well. Dr. Parnassus it is for Tom. Keith?
I'm going to spike everybody else's guns because Protectorate was the first selection across the board, really. And I'm going to take him as my nap. Okay,
there you go. Protectorate it is. David Stevens, over to you.
Yeah, well, I was going to say Protectorate, but I will go for one of our specials tonight. I'm going to go to 2 to 1, a British winner in the Albert Bartlett. That way we get Hillcrest and Staghorn and a couple of others.
Oh, look at that, lovely stuff. Leaving that one till last. And I'll go for Zambella then. Absolute each-way thievery with 8 runners in the Mares' Chase for the Twiston Davies team. Thank you to everyone watching at home as well. It's been a fantastic week, and like I said, I think I've been thrilled to get here and at 6:30 and preview the races. So thank you, Keith. It's been a genuine pleasure. Tom, Aintree in here.
Possible. We'll see.
Yeah? Genuinely?
Never know your luck, Ross.
Okay, well, there you go. We can guarantee it's a wasp-free environment, David, if you want to get involved.
I will be up at Liverpool for the Aintree meeting for the best spring jumps festival there is.
Lovely stuff. And we
Take
will
some
be...
read.
Sorry?
Take some read.
Say that again.
Take some read.
Right, okay. Yeah. So, I was trying to work out what that was then. And I guess I'll be here. I'll be here for Aintree. We'll get stuck into the national meeting. But before that, Gold Cup Day coming up on Friday. We wish you the best of luck. Genuinely, thank you to everyone who has watched this week. We've obviously had the morning, the afternoon, and the evening shows, and it's been great fun on the Racing Post live streams. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please do so. Like this one as well. And thank you to everyone who has got in touch and got involved, and of course to the producers as well. Who've done great stuff out there telling me to get on with it, which they're probably doing now, not in my ear, but screaming it through the door. So let's go, shall we? Enjoy the final day of Cheltenham 2022, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.